Good afternoon, everyone. It's now 2 o'clock. Thank you for joining Japan Foundation London's online event. My name is Junko Takekawa, Senior Arts Program Officer of Japan Foundation London. This is the last talk of session related to this year's Kotatsu Japanese Animation Festival, and I'd like to once again thank the festival and its director, Eiko Merides, for giving us such a wonderful opportunity to be a partner this year. For this very last talk, I'd like to welcome Ms. Yusaki Fusako, one of the renowned clay animation creators from Japan. Having been based in Italy since 1964, she has mainly worked with clay. Clay animation may not be so unusual in this country, but what makes Ms. Yusaki stand out is not only the quality of her work, but also she was believed to be the first person to apply metamorphosis technique to her animation. Recently, more attention has been drawn to female filmmakers and animators. Ms. Yusaki is indeed one of the pioneers as female animation creators who is respected internationally. Today's talk will proceed in the form of a conversation with Robin Lyons, Managing Director of Calon, a British animation television production company based in Cardiff. I'm sure Robin's extensive knowledge of the UK animation industry will help shine a new light on Ms. Yusaki's long-standing career and remarkable work. Next, housekeeping matters. Today's event will be recorded. As we are using the webinar function, your names will not be viewable by other attendees. However, I strongly recommend you to keep your audio and video muted throughout, just in case. If you have any questions for the panelists, please use the Q&A function to send in your question at any time. Remember, the attendee's question may be seen by everybody else, so that you can upvote a particular question placed by another person which you would like answered, or if it is the same as yours. Simply click the thumb up icon next to the question you wish to upvote. Lastly, as always, we will send you an online questionnaire, so please spare a short moment to complete it for a future event. That's all from me. I would like to hand over to Yusaki-san and then Robin, and Yusaki-san will be translated by Kaori Onoda. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Junko, and thanks everyone for coming. I'm here on the digital cloud with Fusako. I'm going to ask her a few questions about her life and her ideas. She'll give a very brief workshop on how she actually goes about making her clay animation. And then at the end, we'll answer some of your questions that you write down now. Okay, so Fusako, how did you first get involved in animation?
きっかけは私日本で彫刻をやってたので、その彫刻をこちらにイタリアに来た時にいろいろ友達に見せた時にフェルネット・ブランカの広告の責任者のローマル・ケナーロがなんで試してみないかフィルムにっていうのがきっかけで始めました。わかっ
Yes, I studied the sculpture at the university in Japan. And when I moved to Italy, I was showing my work to my friends, and I was spotted by somebody from the Fernet Bianca, that's the company, the liquor company, and suggested that, so why don't you make animation for us? That's how I started.
So had they seen some of your animation before they approached you?
いえ、見ていません。私の彫刻の本髄を説明しただけです。
No, they didn't. I just explained the spirit of the sculpture and how to sort of create the life from the sculpture.
So did you have any training in animation at all?
いえ、日本でちょっと大学の時に初めてテレビにテレビが出る時期に私に日本から来た。その時学校で大学でアニメーションの カートンアニメについては勉強をちょっとしました、動きの。
No, I didn't. Around the time that I was studying university was the 60s. The television was just introduced to the Japan. So that what it was, the part of the university that's learning the animation on the paper, cartoon animation. That was all I learned.
And is that why you decided to stay in Italy?
64年、1964年の奨学金に来て、イタリアが好きになったからとどまりました。
I came into Italy as a government-funded student, and I liked Italy so much, I decided to stay.
And have you never been tempted to go back to Japan?
だってその時はイタリア語を覚えるために毎朝イタリアの新聞を読んだり、カバンを開けて日本の匂いを嗅がないようにしてイタリア語に精神集中しました。
Then I was so immerse myself in the Italian sort of language culture. I read Italian newspaper every morning and try not to open the suitcase so that I don't sort of smell the Japan.
You obviously you made a lot of commercials for Fairnet Branca. How many did you make?
それはあまりにも1968年からやり始めて毎年2本というぐらいのをやってたけども全部で長い間やったので覚えてません。
To be honest, I don't remember. It's since 1968, about sort of 2 per year. But so many years, it's so much I've done. I don't remember how many.
And all your work, both your commercials for Fairnet Branca and your short film works and your children's work, there is a strong element of metamorphosis. Why does that appeal to you?
メタモルフォジーっていうのは彫刻になると固まってて動かないけれども中に力強い動きがあるんですよ、彫刻には。
I believe that says.
Can't hear. Sorry.
The sculpture, they don't move, but there is life inside. That is the spirit of metamorphosis.
And do you think that the fact that you've had to teach yourself has made your work very individual?
なんだってよくわかんない。
Can't hear you. I'm sorry, Kari. No, I still can't hear. Oh, sorry, you was talking to her.
それは私の考えることじゃなくて、私は好きでやっただけです。
Yeah, this is not something that I should answer, but I can say that I've been doing that because I love it.
And do you teach at all? Do you pass on your skills to younger people?
教えて、イタリアで
The question to Robin is: Are you talking about in Italy?
Well, yes, since you're in Italy.
日本に時々行ってウォークショップをやったけれども、イタリアではヨーロッパデザイン、インスティトゥット・エウロペア・ディ・デザインでずっと教えて、今はマスターコースで教えてるけれども、
I sometimes come to Japan and then do the special workshops for the young animators. In Italy, I used to teach at the University Institute of Italian Art, and now I'm teaching at the master's degree.
コロナウイルスでストップ。
Yeah, but everything stopped because of corona pandemics.
Oh, yes, unfortunately, isn't it? Let's have a look at a film. Shall we have a look at one of the Fairnet Branca commercials?
はい、消すんだ。
Il poveraccio sgobba notte e giorno. Quel che gli manca, suda e non ce l'ha. Chi un cavallo possiede è un cavaliere. Chi non ce l'ha, schiacciato finirà. Anche nell'amore ci sono due destini. Se l'uno è amato, l'altro lo amerà. Ad uno toccan gioie, all'altro pene. L'uno dà, l'altro prende. Così va.
E quando arrivano le feste, feste piene di vita. Fernet Branca, insieme ai favolosi prodotti Branca, nelle splendide cassette natalizie Branca. La Branca vi augura feste piene di vita.
Great. So how much Fairnet Branca do you actually drink, Fusako?
たくさん見本があったけれども、私はお酒飲まずにちょっと舐めるくらい。
There were many, many samples, but I don't drink, so I just tasted a little bit.
So this must have changed your whole life, these commercials.
コマーシャルをやることによって、だってコマーシャルは全イタリアに南から北までみんな見たので、年度のアニメーションが有名になりました。
Yes, indeed, because the commercial, the advertisement was on public broadcasting sort of a channel, so it's shown as all over Italy. So that made a sort of a clay animation, sort of a knowledge or an acknowledgement of the clay animation all over Italy.
But you've also made short films and children's films.
はい、作りましたよ、たくさん。だけど、
Yes, indeed, I made many of them.
And you're also a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. What's all that about then?
全然わかりません。最初は冗談だと思っていました。
I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was a joke in the first place.
いろいろ世界からいろいろな人からおめでとうって来たので、あら、本当って言ったら、日本から伊藤さん、こたつアニメにもご存知の伊藤さんからメールが来て、ゆさきさん見てくださいっていう書類を送ってきました。
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it, and I started receiving all the congratulations messages all over the world. And there's a Ito director from Japan, actually, they sent me a letter and then, have a look at this. And I just realized then, oh, it's not joke then.
Well, congratulations. I think it's great, Fusako. You're obviously a pioneer in many senses, in that, they're really, I can't think of any other claymation artists in either Japan or Italy, and you're a woman. What advice would you give to young women in particular starting out in animation today?
別に特別に私がパイオニアだって言ってアニメーターだっていうことなしに、みんな自分のやりたいことを思い切ってやり続けるっていうことが必要だと思います。
Not sort of as a pioneer of anything, but what I like to advise it to young people is just pursue what you like to do with, from the heart.
Good. I think at that note, we'll maybe look at the last of the films we're going to show, which is called Convergence, and I think this is an exclusive screening. Okay, thanks very much. That just one more question before we go to the workshop. What are you working on now, Fusako? Have you got some new project?
この今見た作品コンベルジェンザ、今やってるのは日本のNHK のいないいないバーを今続けて今やってます。
At the moment, I work for the Japanese NHK production, Inai Inai Bar. It's like a hide and seek.
Oh, okay. Is that a children's show?
Yeah. 2歳までの子供たちのため。
under 2 years old.
Okay, for very young children. Excellent. Okay, so maybe now you can show us a little bit about how you use the clay.
はい。粘土のデモンストレーションは、ものすごくみんなが知っていることで、アニメーションは今、武田優子さんといろいろな人と仕事をしたけども、ちょうどここにいるので紹介します。日本人。
Let me introduce first my Japanese assistant, Yuko-san. Thank you very much.
アニメーションでは本当はこんなところでやれないんですよね。ちゃんとした台のところでやるんですけども、私のアニメーションの根本精神を紹介します。
Normally, you need a little bit more proper platform to create the shapes, but I show you the fundamental spirit of how to work with clay today.
ほら、よく見て、これ粘土ですよ。
Look at this. This is clay, lump of clay.
粘土は押さえるとほら、形が変わる。
As soon as you touch it, the shape changes.
でしょ？ほら。
Yeah, look at this, yes.
これを一つずつ動きながら撮影していくんですけど、今それをちょっと簡単に説明したんですよね。
So I just explained it, sort of create the different movement bit by bit to make a movement from the clay. Bit by bit like this.
こう変わっていって、どっちから見ても変わっていって、これでいろいろぐるぐる作った作品をこうやってみて、何になるかな？
So that you manipulate the clay and look at from all directions and start thinking, what will this become?
骸骨になるのかな？
Yeah, is it skeleton?
これをこういう道具を使って、
So using the tool and it just scrapes like that?
何みたい？
What do you think it is? What do you think?
そのイマジネーションが私のアニメーションの根本だけども、
So this is the spirit of my sort of a spirit that's that imagination is this is my drive.
ここにちょっとこうやって穴を開けるとお目目が出てきて、
So using the pen, just create the eye.
もっとここのところでこうやればお魚になる。もっときれいにできるんだけど、今こんなところでできない。
Yes, it's a bit rough, but here comes, this is the fish.
というふうに、ただの粘土からいろいろ変わってくるわけ。だから粘土の塊を、例えばこうやったら、
So
いないわでも見せるけども、トロントロントロンとこんな長いもの、ゆうこちゃんがたくさん作ったこんなのだとか、ほら、いろんな色を使ってほら、面白い。
So from the lump of clay, you can make various shapes like this, like
ペロペロみたいな、これ。
thin.
これを使って、
This is a rolling pin.
日本でもイタリアでもパスタを食べるために作るんだけど、私は
Yeah, there's a rolling pin to make a pasta.
それをこれ粘土で作るとほらペロンペロンになる
Yeah,
でしょ。
so using a clay instead of flour, then you can see them like it.
型で穴を開けたり、あるいは今ゆうこちゃんがこうやってたけども、これ今やったんだよ、彼女が穴をつけて、こういうものでできるし、ほらいろいろそれとかいろいろ方法は皆さんが知ってると思うからいろいろ試してくださいね。で、さっきのこういうの
you can use many objects, many tools, and many ways to create the clay into shape.
これをちょん切ってこれも これもちょん切って、
So I'm gonna cut that shape into the small pieces
ほら、こんなのもできるんだよ。
and make like this.
お魚、
Yeah, fish.
こんなお魚、これ、ほら、ここら辺のはさっきのこれでしょ。こういうのを切ってできるでしょ。
So the bits to decorate the fish.
だからアニメーションにする前、した後にこういうのできたらいろいろ楽しむことができるし、これはね、
You can change those shapes sort of during the making an animation or before making an animation.
それだけではなくて、こんなみたいに、ほら、瀬戸物じゃないや、これな、セラミックで焼いて、粘土でだったら壊れちゃうから、こういうものも作って楽しむこともできるんですよ。だから。
Also, they not only to manipulate the clay, but to fire them so as to make it a ceramic to make a little bit more stable structure like this.
ほら、こんなギザギザとかいうのも面白いでしょ。
Yeah, because they see the interesting patterns there.
こんな面白いことをやって楽しむのが私の根本の精神です。これで終わり。
Yeah, so they said this is my spirit. This is the core. This is enjoy what I'm doing. So that's it. Thank you.
I can see in the background though, Fusako, that you have a setup. Is that right? Do you have your own setup in your house?
物置がないから家にいろいろと使ったもので壊れてないものがぞろぞろあるんです。
Yeah, I don't have a shed and I don't have an extension. So in the house, there are many things that's maybe broken or not broken, but not used, but sort of accumulated in the back.
But where do you actually shoot your films? Do you go somewhere else to a special studio, or do you work at home?
昔は私のスタジオを今ゆうこちゃんに渡してゆうこちゃんがなんだっけやってます。
I used to have a studio myself, but now Yuko is taking it over and she runs the studio.
Okay. And where that's presumably close to where you live.
え?
Is that close to where you live?
300メートルだ。
Yes, it is. In a nearby home.
あなたの。そう、歩いて5分か10分。
Yeah, just 5-10 minutes walk from my home.
Okay. And do you live in Rome? Where do you live in Italy?
え? 何お住まい? いや、ローマはここミラノです。
Milan.
Yes, living in Milan.
So there are facilities because the first film you showed was a mixture of computer generated animation and clay animation. So are there facilities close by that you can work with in Milan? Presumably there are.
そうですよ。音の時は30人くらいいたよね。30人。コンピューターの人とそうじゃない粘土の人が5人、コンピューターの人が20人かね、いて、でみんな一つのミラノの中心で、一つのフィッチョに、事務所で、その上から下からそういうことで、あれはね、メガネかけると、
Yes, there was when we were making Otto, there was 5 clay animators, and the rest is from the computer graphics side. Altogether, about 30 of them working together in one building.
メガネかけると飛び出る作品で 3D.
So do you have a producer?
It was 3D.
do you have a producer who organizes all this?
プロデューサーはイタリア国営テレビと私とプロデューサー
Yeah, there were three of us.
一緒に共同プロダクション。
So it's a co-production. So it's myself and somebody from the RAI, you know, the public broadcaster in Italy, and other person. So three of us co-produced it.
Great, very good. Okay, so probably I should open up to questions now. So has anyone got any questions? There are a few things here that I can't read because they're in Japanese, but if anyone would like to ask a question, now is a good time. No questions?
Hi, Robin. This is Darian from the Japan Foundation. I believe that we have some open questions at the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. So there's one question from Aline, and she's asking, is there a particular piece of work or achievement in your career that you're most fond of for Yusaki-san?
私の子供のようにお子さんを持った方は分かると思うけども、みんな同じ価値があるから一つだけ選べなんてそんなのひどいですよ。
Yeah, just all my creation and their works been like my children, so it is impossible to choose one of them.
Are there any other questions in Japanese that I can't understand that I should be asking? Darian.
No, so if you navigate to the button at the bottom of the screen.
There is a question here saying, what is the name of your producer in Milan? Who is your producer in Milan?
何の作品のそれぞれプロデューサーは作品によってプロデューサーは変わりますよ。
Which production, which work are you asking? Because I got the different producers for the different work.
I don't know whether they come back, but there are some more questions. There are some more questions here. Where does your inspiration come from?
インスピレーション。どんどんなんか一つのことをテーマを決めるとどんどん出てくるんだよ。
When I decide the theme, that's just sort of inspiration or imagination just come and more just keep coming to my head.
And what do you watch a lot of? Do you watch other people's animated films? And if so, what is your favorite animated film?
ルッツァーティ、イタリアのジャンニ・ルッツァーティのエマヌエル・ルッツァーティの作品はもういつ見ても大好き。
Yeah, my favorite person is Emmanuel
ルッツァーティ。
ルッツァーティという方ですね。もうその方の作品は大好きです。
何回も。
I've seen it many times, never get bored.
And here's a very good question from Becky. If the clay isn't doing what you want it to, do you change your plans and adapt the animation to what you've created, or do you keep going until you create what was already in your head?
ですね。
フェルネット・ブランカの最初の時はテーマが与えられて好きなようにやっていましたが、
For a Fernet Branca advertisement, there was a theme set, and I was told, so do whatever you want to do in the kind of follow the theme. However,
ところがいろいろテレビに流れるための規制があって、私は日本の昆虫を主題にして作った作品が放送されなくなってもう大変だったんです。それ以来は
so there was a sort of a kind of a problem with during the making of Fernet Branca, because I used the insects as a sort of a character, and there's Italian television, there's a lot of restrictions, and I wasn't allowed to use that on the Italian TV, so that was a bit of a problem.
その後からは必ずストーリーボード、ストーリーコンテ、ストーリーボードね、書いてクライアントに見せて間違えないようにしています。
So since that I learned the lesson, that I sort of create a storyboard, then share that with the clients to make sure they're happy before going ahead.
Good idea. I have a good question here from Myanmar, from Charlotte. Sorry if I missed it, but do you ever change materials, like brands or types of clay, or make your own clay? And if you do, if you don't, why not? And if you do, how does it change your work?
種類はアニメーションやるときにこうやってそれが残っていただくことと、その次の日にやるのにそれで溶けてしまわないような粘土が必要です。
So we need a type of clay, actually sort of you can create the shape quite easily. However, keep the shape on the following day, not sort of have it melt. So that's sort of a type of clay I've been using.
And does everyone use this clay? I mean, is it the same sort of clay that Ardman and other people use?
私はアドマンスタジオでは英子さんに聞かないとどんな粘土を使ってるか見たことがないけども、いろいろな種類を使ってるんだと思います。
先生自身はもういつも同じ。
根本は形が変化できる、それが残る。でまたそれを触れるっていうことの粘土で綺麗な色だったら OK、 なければ作るんで鍋で。
Well, so I don't know what's the other sort of creators used what kind of clays, but to me the important thing is the be able to create the shape, change the shape easily, but they can keep the shape as long as that's clear. I don't mind which clay, and if I couldn't get that clay, I just make it myself in the pot in the kitchen.
Good. I mean, people, there are clays that are made specifically for sculpting and for animation, and in different colors. Okay, there's a question here from Aline. Which career path would you have followed if you weren't a clay sculptor or animator? What would you have done if you weren't an animator?
グラフィックデザイナーか、あるいはクレイアニメーションなくて考えられないからやめます、そんなディスクールス。
Could be graphic designer, but I can't imagine my life without clay animation whatsoever.
土を掘る。
Maybe I worked on the ground, work with the earth. Maybe something like that.
Okay, so, oh, someone asked you, what do you do with the clay when you finished with it? Do you recycle it?
混ざったものは捨てて、あるいは他のものを作ってもいいけども、新しいものは使わなきゃ、そんなので時間の問題であります。
It says, if it's a mixed color, I have to discard it or reuse it, but it's quite time consuming. So I tend to use the new clay for the new production.
Okay, there's a question here about the stop motion industry, how it's coping with the virus. I think I'm probably better placed than Fusako to answer that. I think the answer is it's difficult. We normally make stop motion productions, but we're actually making a 2D production at the moment because it's, you know, it's easier for people to work from home. But having said that, it is possible to organize stop motion studios with enough spacing so that people can socially distance. So stop motion, there isn't a lot of stop motion going on at the moment in the UK anyway, but there are a lot of projects which could happen soon, and I don't think COVID would stop them. Um,
自分で好きだったらみんな自分で今いろんなカメラもストップモーションができるカメラがある。私はこのさっき短編の作品はお休みに家にこもって作ったものだから、そういうのを作ってください。みんな頑張って。
Yeah. My message is whatever you do at home, there are sort of cameras available so you can use at home. For example, that's the short film just shown during the session. I made that film during the break and at home, for example.
I think there are quite a few people working on their own or with one or two other people where they can socially distance and they can produce films. There's another question here. What happens? This is somebody who's really obviously upset, Laura Elena, that you might have destroyed Otto. Where is Otto today? She's saying. Have you kept him?
おことくんはそこにいっぱい楽しみながらたくさんいっぱいいろんなのでたくさんは作ったけれども、音のフィルムの音はみんな崩れるし、私の粘土のアニメーションの素材もみんな崩れてます。
I made a lot of autos for the production, but the particular one we used for the film, actually they don't last long, so it's sort of crumbled at the end, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's what happens to stop motion puppets, I'm afraid. They don't survive. They don't have long lives. What is your most, it is Megumi Scarlett, what is your most memorable experience whilst making the Italian children's show L'Albero Azzurro?
何ができたとき、子供の
Robin, can you just repeat the name of that particular program? Sort of
L'Albero Azzurro.
ルベロアズーロ、青い木。はい。それはイタリアのテレビでやったやつですよね。あれは子供たちのために作った。
we're not
残ったこと、印象に残ったのは、やはりなんか自分だけでできずに、他の人がいろいろ手伝ったり話したりするのが大変でした。自分だけでフィルム作るのと違って。
Yeah, compared to the making a film myself, that that involved a lot of collaboration with other people. So that was an interesting part, but also as a challenge for me.
One that you enjoyed or not?
やってる時は楽しいんだかなんだか全然わからない。
I don't remember whether I enjoyed the process or not when I was in the middle of it.
You're glad it's over, maybe. But I don't know that l'albero azzurro, but I'll look out for it. Okay, any more questions? There's Laura Elena says she's happy that Otto lives on film, even if he is disintegrated in real life.
ああ、そうでしょうかね。そうであれば嬉しいですね。
I wish that, yes, that the same as that. I wish Otto lives forever in that film.
Okay, any more questions, anybody? Well, I think that's probably it. So thank you, very, very much, Fusako, for being here today and answering our questions and showing us your work. And it's been a privilege for everybody here. And thanks to Eiko, Meredith and Junko and the Arts and Culture Japan Foundation in London for putting this on. Okay.
Thank you so much. It's interesting to see that, is it your studio, Fusako-san?
いえ、私の自宅です。
It's your home. Fantastic. I can see that very nice house there, yellow house with a red roof. Just behind you? Yeah.
これアルベロアズーロ。
From the Albero Azzurro.
No, スイステレビ。クエスト。もう忘
Yeah,
れ
it was used as I think it was production for the Swiss TV.
ドアが開いて中から出てくる。スイステレビか、あるいはアルベロアズーロ。今日覚えてないな、今。
I'm not sure which one, either one in Italy or for the Switzerland. I don't remember.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much. There's a lot of collections there, I'm sure. Is that
コレクションじゃなくて、作った残り。
Yeah, just the remaining of the all the productions in the past.
wow.
これポリスのローマを訪問した時のセノグラフィーっていうの背景です。
これはですね、yeah, this is the one that's used in the polis, that's when the characters sort of they visited Rome.
Yes, it's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your work and an idea, and also thanks goes to Robin, handling that Q&A and then conversation with Fusako-san, Yusaki-san. Thank you so much for attending the Japan Foundation and the Kotatsu Japanese Animation Festival talk. This is the last talk over this weekend, but there will be some sort of screening as part of that Kotatsu Animation Festival. So just tune in on the YouTube channel. But otherwise, have a nice rest of the Sunday, and then thank you so much. Thank you.
頑張って、こたつアニメーションビーバー。